How's it going, guys? It's Thomas Pyburn with 317 Dynamics, and I'm making this video today because I was at my local Gander Mountain. If you're ever in the Indianapolis area, in the Castleton area specifically, check out the Castleton Gander Mountain. That's the one I used to work at, and I helped did the remodel there. Phenomenal shop, over 4,000 firearms. They have every type of gun you can possibly think, from your fancy ones to your inexpensive ones, your high-end ARs, your basic ones, AKs, shotguns, whatever the case may be, sniper rifles, whatever you want to call it, they got them. But while I was there, I noticed a gentleman who was selling a shotgun, an old Maverick shotgun. I couldn't even remember the model number. I don't even think he knew what the model number was. But any gun shop's going to give you a low dollar amount because they have to flip it and make a profit on it. Everyone should know that, and that you should expect that when you go to a gun shop, because it's like a pawn shop. They have to make money on what you're selling them. So why get all butthurt when they give you a low offer? Sell it on your own. You're going to make more money. But back to the main point. When I was talking with this guy, he was interested in getting a gun for home protection, because he was going to be he was the caretaker of his sister, who is pregnant now, from what he told me, and there's I believe 2 other younger children in his family, and he was looking at some low-end guns like LCPs, and let's see here, like the Beretta Pico, whatever you call that thing, just your small little pocket rockets. And I educated him. I told him, the simple questions every gun guy who works at a gun shop asks you: what's the gun for? Home protection, carry. What do you want to do with it? What caliber? And he didn't have any of the answers to that. He didn't. He was dumbfounded by the thought of those ideas. So this is the video that I'm going to make for you guys. I'm going to help you decide what gun you want and what category certain guns fall into. The category that I'm going to start with first is what I call your defensive carry guns, which are either guns that hold 5 to 7-ish rounds, 5, 6, 7 rounds, that also can probably fit in your hand fully, and I mean literally. Usually ones that you can carry in your pocket or in your boot, just tiny little pocket rocket guns like LCPs, Smith & Wesson bodyguards, C camps, the Beretta Pico or Pico, whatever that thing's called. I should figure that out one day. Guns like that. Those are ones that are going to usually run you anywhere on a good deal. You can get them for $275 to the high 300s. Those are guns. They have their place, but they are backup guns in my book. You should have a fighting handgun and then have one of those as a backup gun, because any backup gun is better than no gun. Those are the guns I tell you not to buy first. And people say, because I know this because I've worked at a bunch of gun shops, and you know who you are if you said this to me. It's like, oh, I don't want something big and scary that's going to scare my wife or scare the kids or something like that. It's a firearm. It's a tool. You need to teach your family and train them on how to use it in case they need to. But back to the main point, those inexpensive guns should not be your first choice. The ones I think should be your first choice are your fighting handguns. A fighting handgun to me is a compact, full-size, or competition-size handgun. And when I say competition, I'm not talking about a race gun like a 1911 that's all tricked out with the red dot and the beveled magwell thing and all that goofy shit. A competition gun could be like the Glock 34, Glock 35, XDM 525, SIG 226, single action only, guns like that, or the SIG 220 and 10mm now. That's a new one that just came out, which I'm waiting to get my hands on. Those are the guns I tell you to get. Those usually run around $480, $450 to about $800, depending on the gun you want. And as soon as you show, and it happens every time, and anyone who's ever sold a gun has done this. You show somebody an $800 gun, and they're just like, "Whoa, I'm not trying to break the bank here, man." And we're like, "Sir, this is a quality firearm. This is why this gun is $800." First off, those guns like the brands that I'm going to list are the ones I'd recommend you buy from: Glock, Smith & Wesson, SIG, Springfield, Walther, HK. Those are really the main players in my book. Those ones have the least amount of issues with them, and the customer service from the companies of those are excellent. SIG has got some of the best customer service that I've ever seen. We had a guy at the local gun shop I used to work at. He had some reloaded ammo and he blew his extractor out, sent in his gun a week before Christmas, and got it back like a day or two before Christmas, believe it or not. So big props to SIG on their customer service. Also, with the fighting handguns and the brands that I just listed, they work better. They're a hell of a lot more reliable. There's more parts and upgrades you can get for them once you've mastered that particular handgun. Like if you go out and buy a Glock, I'm not going to tell you to go and get all the ZEV stuff that I have in my gun immediately right off the bat, because you have to practice with it how it is first. I will tell you to get a different set of sights, because standard Glock sights are shit. But those are the guns we want to start with for first-time gun buyers. There's a couple guns that meet the fighting handgun realm, but they are at a lower price. One of them is going to be the Smith & Wesson SD9VE, not the Smith & Wesson Sigma. There's a difference. The Sigma is the first version of the SD9VE, which has got like a 12-pound trigger pull. It's fucking heavy as hell to pull that gun. And that's the gun that Glock sued Smith & Wesson over, and now Smith has to pay a royalty to Glock because they copied the design of the Glock. The SD9VE has got a better trigger in it. It's got to be probably an 8-pound trigger, something like that. But it's just as reliable as a Glock, and they work like a champ. A good buddy of mine, Matt's got one. Bet you he's still got it. And I bet you it still hasn't malfunctioned and it's running like a champ. And he used to run that thing dirty as hell, and it still runs great. The last category I'm going to talk about in guns is your, I call them your fancy guns. Fancy guns are just cool ones to have. Usually are your big caliber stuff, your 44 Magnum revolvers, your Desert Eagles, 500 Magnums. Now, some of those can be considered hunting guns, which the guns that I'm talking about in this video are for defensive purposes only. Very few people I know carry a 44 Magnum. I know one guy who carries a 44 Special revolver, a little Bulldog Taurus one, but that's a different story because he has certain ammunition and hollow points for them that is made for carry, which in my book is acceptable. But your fancy high-end whack job, especially the high-end 1911s, if you want to own them, go for it. Fucking spend the money. I could give a shit. But don't take it to a class, because it's probably not going to work by midday of that class or the training session, and you probably don't want to get it scratched up. One of these days I'll do a real close-up of my gun, my Glock, and my AR now, and they have scratches out the ass. My Glock is actually turning silver now because of how much I've beaten that thing up and dropped it, and how many lakes I've thrown it in just to see if it works still. But once you got your fighting handgun and you know it works, buy whatever the hell you want. I will tell you that to carry a backup gun is always a great option. I personally carry the Glock 19 with the new Magpul PMags for the Glocks. I'm trying those out right now, and so far they're working great. Later on, I'll do a better review of those magazines and show those in detail. But I carry the Glock 19 with the 17-round mag, and then 2 extra 17-round PMags for the Glock. With quality hollow points. And that's just currently how I carry my gun. So close to 50 rounds on me I think is good enough for daily carry. But that's just what I wanted to throw out there for you guys. Moral of the story is your first handgun should not be one of those cheap little tiny pocket 380s or anything like that. One thing I forgot to mention is if we're talking about the Glock 42 and the 43, those guns I would say are in between a fighting handgun and a backup gun, really. It's whatever fits your realm. But I'm going to tell you from an experienced shooter and an instructor that the compact full-size fighting handgun is going to work pretty much every time unless you do some stupid shit to it. So get yourself a fighting handgun. If you want to see a good selection of them, go to the Castleton Gander Mountain if you're in that area, or any Gander Mountain. They're all over the U.S. Those are going to be the ones that work the best for you. Thanks for watching, guys. If you got any comments or any suggestions for later videos, just write your comments in the comment box below. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember that infidels are leading the way for the 3%ers. Thanks for watching.